LaxFactor podcast. What is up, college lacrosse fans? This is episode number 62 of the LaxFactor podcast, and today we're going to continue talking and picking 2020's conference winners like a boss. Today I am going to do the Patriot League, the Metro, and the ACC, and then in segment 2, we're going to talk about... I'm going to start doing every week. I'm going to start talking about midfield units that I like for a little while. So this week, obviously, whenever I do something new, I always talk about Syracuse first. But in this case, it's fitting because Syracuse has 3 of the top midfielders in the country all on a single line. So I thought it was worthy to talk about that. And then in the third segment, I'm going to answer a question from the college lacrosse group that I'm a member of on Facebook, and we had a really good question posed there that I'm going to answer as well. So before I get into it, though, as always, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell to make sure that you see more of our videos. And the best thing you can do for us, just share the video on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever. Just share it for us. And if you want to support us beyond that, you can go to LaxFactor.com. You can get yourself some swag, t-shirts, hats, shorts, coffee mugs, all sorts of crap. And you can also watch all our videos, listen to the audio podcast, and in the link below, I will have a link to the audio version of this podcast. This is going to come out in segments on YouTube from now on, so this entire podcast will roll out over the course of the week. So what you're watching right now is the first segment. If you want to listen to and not wait for segments 2 and segments 3, you can link in below to the audio version of the podcast where the full podcast will be put out. But this whole thing will eventually get put out on YouTube in 3 parts during the course of the week. So let's get into it. Picking 2020 conference winners like a boss. And the very first conference that I want to talk about is the Patriot League, because I feel strongly about this one. I feel like I'm right. And I like my picks overall, and I think my picks won't necessarily be popular. They won't necessarily be what other people pick, but it's what I think. So we'll get into it right off the bat. Number 3 is Army. And Army, they lost an All-American goalkeeper, an All-American defender. They return almost everybody offensively, so they're going to have a good squad. And Army, as I say, a lot of times the military academies, they're better at replacing defense than most teams are, and they're almost always fairly sound and strong defensively. I don't think they have enough coming back, though, to allow them to win, but certainly the Patriot is anyone's league at this point. So these predictions, take these with a grain of salt. Even though I think that I'm going to end up being right, still a lot could happen and change that. So Army, I have at number 3. Holy Cross, I couldn't believe that I picked Holy Cross here. But Holy Cross, they bring back a lot of guys. They bring back guys offensively. They bring back guys defensively, solid goalkeeping. So Holy Cross I pick as my number 2 out of the Patriot, oddly enough, simply because in these types of leagues, veterans and more specifically returning seniors play a huge role in how well you do. And I feel like Holy Cross has a very good chance of making a little bit noise in the Patriot. And this is the one I was excited about. And everyone right now is wondering, well, what is this number 1 pick going to be? And I'm going to go against the grain here, and I think Loyola is going to win the Patriot League. And I feel like they still have enough talent returning, even with losing Spencer, Scanlon, and Duffy, because Duffy was a legit midfielder, a huge senior leader. Scanlon was an incredibly good off-ball midfielder. He was probably going to play attack this year for Loyola, but he was incredible off ball, and he was a great 2-dodger. Scanlon wasn't the kind of guy that was going to go to the rack and beat his guy while everybody was looking, even though he's capable of doing that. It's just not the kind of player he is. He was really going to be the guy that, someone dodges down the alley, they bang it back to X, they bang it back up to the wing where Scanlon's waiting on the opposite side. Now he can dodge with no help coming. He was a kind of a 2-dodge option. So even with losing those guys, more specifically Spencer, I think that they are going to have a really good shot at winning the Patriot. Partly just because I think everybody else lost enough that, look at what Army lost. They lost an All-American defender and goalkeeper. So it's like, yeah, Loyola lost Scanlon and the player of the year, Pat Spencer, but a lot of these teams lost pieces that were as important to their teams as Spencer was to Loyola, at least to a degree. So who's coming back that gives me confidence in Loyola to the point that I think that they could win the Patriot? I'd say Cam Wires on D, 17 caused turnovers, 34 ground balls, and a goal. LSM, Ryan McNulty, an excellent long pole, 25 caused turnovers, 65 GBs, 2 goals, 2 assists. So that's important, and you have some leadership there with the senior between the boxes in the middle third of the field and the defensive side of the field. And then Kevin Lindley, don't sleep on Kevin Lindley. 60 goals, 64 points. Now, he is an off-ball attackman to be certain, but Aiden Olmstead, both of these guys are just going, I think both of them are just going to be juniors. That's at least what my note says. But Aiden Olmstead, man. Aiden Olmstead is a legit attacker, 50-50 kind of guy. Here he's playing last year behind Spencer. He's got Lindley, who's the off-ball guy, and Spencer carried the ball a lot. And then they had Loyola had a lot of midfield. A lot of their offense was generated through the midfield as well. So Olmstead at 25 goals, 21 helpers, 46 points. He's the kind of guy, and I've heard good things so far this fall about Olmstead, that he could put up 80-plus points. I mean, he could jump from 46 points to 80 points for Loyola this year, and I think that's all Loyola needs. Loyola just needs an alpha to take the reins and put up the bulk of their points. You have Olmstead and Lindley on your attack. That is a hell of an attack unit. So don't sleep on Loyola. And I think that between those guys, a solid returning core of defenders. I mean, they have at all aspects of the field, they return guys with experience. And in a league like the Patriot League, where you're rarely going to be dealing with a top 5 team, it's usually you're going to be dealing with top 5 and down. I mean, it's anybody's league for certain. But Lindley, Olmstead, McNulty, Wires, these guys are veterans. They know how to win. They've learned from the best. Look for Loyola not to have a follow-up year like Yale did after losing a Tuarton winner, but look for Loyola to be solid and to potentially win their league still. I like Loyola out of the Patriot. Now, this one, a little less exciting. And actually, you know what? Screw it. We're gonna do the next biggest one here. I'm gonna do the ACC now because I kept your attention hopefully through the Patriot League, and now we have the ACC winner. So I'm going to predict the Atlantic Coast Conference, and my number 3, Duke. My number 3 is Duke. I put them going 3-2 in ACC play because the ACC is going to be brutal and they're going to all beat each other up. I put Duke at 3-2. I think the 2 invaluable polls they lost is going to hurt them. And yes, JT, he will be the best player on the field in almost every ACC contest, but they don't have the best offensive player on the field in any of those games. I don't think there will be a single game that Duke will play all year where they're going to have the best offensive player on the field. But they're still good enough all around that I think, just the way they develop, the way their team is put together, you can't hate, you just can't count Danowski and Duke out because of what they've done. And I think they'll continue to do that. And they have a lot of newcomers that might step up also. So Duke, 3rd. I think they're going to be good all around, but I still think they're going to take 3rd in the ACC. Now, my next pick, I was torn on this one because I've kind of been turning a little bit, even though I've been making predictions, and I think everybody knows who I'm going to call my number 1 here. I almost wanted to predict and kind of go with a hot take and predict that Syracuse was going to win the ACC, and I think that there's a chance that Syracuse could. I think that they're the best suited to do that and to hang with Virginia in this upcoming season, but alas, partly out of fear of being called a homer and partly because you got to kind of give the incumbent the nod, I'm going with Syracuse as my number 2 team out of the ACC. I honestly think they will, like Duke, lose 2 games. So I think Syracuse will still go 3-2 with the tiebreaker over Duke because Syracuse legitimately has owned Duke the last 4 years. 3 in a row, I believe they've won right now because I believe they've won all 3 with Trimboli because I know Trimboli scored the game winners against Duke his freshman year and his sophomore year. Last year, I forget who scored the game winner. I think it was Curry who scored the game winner against Duke. So Syracuse has owned Duke. So I give them the number 2 nod in the ACC. Best and most, let's not say the best, but easily one of the deepest midfields in the country that Syracuse has, if not the top midfield group in the country. Trimboli, Curry, and Dordovic, they're all accomplished dodgers, all great shooters, and that's key. They won't just spot up and shoot out top, which they can all do, very capable. And Curry and Trimboli, they both have lasers from out top, and I put Dordovic more just a good shooter all around, but more importantly, they can all dodge. They can shoot and they can dodge. Very formidable dodgers, specifically alley dodgers. Curry, a little bit better, and Dordovic, a little bit better at maybe sweeping out top and down. and so on. But here I'm getting into this whole Syracuse midfield thing, and I didn't mean to until later. So moral of the story, Syracuse, I think that they're my number 2. They have a really good shot. You have Scanlon on attack, Rafis and Cook, number 2 in the ACC. Virginia is my number 1. And why? Pretty simply, I put them at 4-1. I figure they're going to lose one ACC contest. And you know what? I'm going to make this kind of my hot take. I bet you Virginia beats Syracuse. Virginia beats Duke. Virginia beats Notre Dame. I think that it's going to be UNC. I think UNC is going to be the one to give Virginia their loss. I put Virginia at 4-1. One of the top 3 attack groups in the country. Yale and Penn State, they're the other 2, I think, but Moore, Krause, and Laviano are all proven primetime gamers. They return a load of defensive talent and Dox Aitken. So they just got too good of a team. Yes, Conrad's gone, but their top 4 scoring leaders all back with some promising youngsters coming in. So I think Virginia's got enough talent to win this all, and that attack group is just brutal. You've got Matt Moore, 46 goals, 43 helpers, 89 points. Michael Krause, 39 and 36. So right there, you've got 2 50-50 guys that both put up 75-plus points, more with 89. Then you got Laviano, your off-ball goal-scoring attackman. He's not as much an off-ball attackman, I would say, is more a transition attackman, a good system offensive attackman, good in motion sets, good at not dodging under, I should say, but good at getting underneath guys and getting open and getting shots on the crease. So Laviano, 63 points, 51 goals. That's crazy. At the midfield, that's where they're going to be hurting. Dox Aitken, though, is good enough to anchor that midfield and get them their points. I'm going to move this so it's not bumping my mic. Dox Aitken, 44 goals, 8 assists, 52 points. And then Jared Connors returning on D, 27 caused turnovers, 57 GBs. And a huge important part of the Virginia title, and I think Virginia trying for their repeat, is Petey fucking LaSala, sophomore, face-off man, and midfielder. This guy's not just a face-off guy. 8 goals, 1 assist, 58.7% from the face-off X, and his play through the playoffs through the end of the year was what really helped Virginia keep humming. And you have Alex Rode. Alex Rode has been benched. He's been shit on. People have talked trash. People dislike him. He gets booed. But Alex Rode continues to hop in the cage and play tough. And, with a little, now he's got a title under his belt. So he deals with getting benched and he wins a title. And I think that if he can keep that gig and get himself to the magical number of 52%, Virginia, they're going to win the ACC. It's going to be really, 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 really tough to unseat them. All right. So I got that one done. The Metro is the next one I want to talk about. I've got my number 3 team as Detroit Mercy. I'm going to put them at 4-3 in the Metro. I've got Quinnipiac. Man, I always forget how to pronounce that. Quinnipiac. It's not Quinnipiac. I always think that, it's Quinnipiac is what it looks like. I think it's just Quinnipiac. I'm going to call it that anyway. Screw you guys. 5-2. I think that they have a good squad coming back. They're going to be all right. And then Marist. I believe Marist is going to win the Metro at 6-1. Why? Because they return a bunch of offensive talent, a decent goaltender, and the rest of these teams all lost similarly important pieces, compared to what they lost. Coming back offensively, they're going to be tough. Jake Weinman, 33 goals and 41 points. Jojo Peressa, 27 goals, 35 points. Joe Tierney, 19 goals, 31 points. Jamison Embury, sophomore, 18 goals, 31 points. So they bring a lot of offensive talent back. James Lyons, 13 and 14, 50-50 guy. And then a goalie in Jake McGregor at 52, magical 52%. So you bring back a bunch of guys on the offensive side. You lose a little bit on defense, but so did everybody else. Nobody brought enough back, in my opinion, that I think Marist they have a really good shot. I feel legit. And yeah, one of the things I was in my notes was that they lost 2 starters, I think, at least, maybe even more. They may have lost all 3 starting poles, or they may have lost 2 short stick, 2 long pole, close D, and then a long pole mid. I can't remember, but they lost a lot on defense. But the young talent, ready to fill that void. But more importantly, they bring back a lot on offense and a returning goalie. So that is why I like Marist on that front. As always, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you are notified when we put out more videos. If you want to support us beyond that, you can go to LaxFactor.com and get yourself swag, t-shirts, coffee cups, shorts, all that good crap. But more importantly, just share the video and all that good stuff. And as always, thank you for watching. And we will do the remaining conferences. I forget what conferences. I know I got to do the Colonial still. So there's a couple other America East I think we still got to do, or maybe I did the America East. I can't even remember already what I just did. So I'll do the remaining conferences next week. I will also do another midfield unit next week, and I will also be answering more questions next week. Thank you for watching. Hoost is out.